Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
A deputy is wounded after getting into a shootout with an armed man in Walnut Park. That suspect was shot and killed by a second deputy.
A brush fire in Monrovia. The flames spread to a salvage yard, burning several cars and threatening nearby buildings.
A wrong-way driver triggers a violent crash on a local freeway. Now, a 19-year-old man is dead and 2 people are behind bars. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jory Rand.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan in for Giovanna Lara. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. Gunfire erupts in Walnut Park. In the end, a deputy is rushed to the hospital while an armed suspect is shot and killed. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Studer has the latest on the investigation.
A neighborhood on lockdown after a deputy is shot and a suspect killed after 2 deputy-involved shootings.
Right here, in this little alley right here, he was hiding in this little dumpster. And the cops went in there. He had a gun. They shot him.
The violence ended in this dumpster where the 31-year-old suspect was found hiding after authorities say he opened fire on a transit services deputy. It happened around 4 a.m. at Grand and Pacific in Walnut Park. Investigators say the deputy who was on patrol stopped the suspect as he was walking along the street.
During that contact, the suspect fired at the deputy with a handgun. That deputy was struck, and the suspect fled the scene.
The deputy managed to fire back at the suspect as he ran off. It's unclear if he was hit. Authorities quickly locked down the area, carefully searching for the gunman. About 3 hours later, and a block and a half away, they found him hiding in that dumpster.
About 5 or 6 guys, I think they were cops that came in there, and then they opened up the dumpster, and someone said gun, and then they shot him.
When our special enforcement deputies contacted the suspect again produced the firearm, and fearing for their safety, another deputy-involved shooting occurred.
The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. The deputy was rushed to the hospital where he was treated and released for a non-life-threatening injury. A very close call with an armed and dangerous suspect. As with all deputy-involved shootings, the LA DA's office, Office of Inspector General, and Internal Affairs are all investigating. In Walnut Park, Leanne Studer, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Firefighters have stopped the advance of a brush fire that spread to a salvage yard in Monrovia. It broke out in the 3300 block of Peck Road near the border with Arcadia this afternoon. The fire burned 8 to 10 acres at a water conservation plant before firefighters were able to contain it. It had spread to the pick-apart salvage yard where it burned at least 3 cars. Some structures were also threatened. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
2 drivers were questioned in the internal investigation of an LAPD officer who allegedly brandished a weapon on the 60 freeway in an apparent road rage incident. This is a photo of that incident posted to our ABC7 Facebook page, claiming to show an off-duty officer pointing a gun at another driver. The LAPD has confirmed to Eyewitness News that the woman in the photo is an LAPD officer. The CHP says the alleged road rage incident happened Thursday on the eastbound 60 near the 710. At this point, the officer's name is not being released.
We now know the name of the victim killed in a wrong-way crash on the 210 freeway in Azusa. Officials say 19-year-old Justin Romo of El Monte was killed this morning when a wrong-way driver hit his car head-on near the Vernon Avenue exit. His 16-year-old girlfriend was in the passenger seat and suffered moderate injuries. She was taken to County USC Medical Center. Officers say the wrong-way driver and his passenger took off after the crash, but detectives found identification in that wrong-way car, followed up, and arrested both.
I just want justice to be served and that they get the highest time that they could get for killing Justin. And it's unfortunate that he got behind the wheel and he took my son.
The victim was the youngest of 4 children. His family says he loved skateboarding and riding bikes. And in Long Beach, the search is underway for the driver who hit and killed a person standing on the 710 freeway at Artesia Boulevard in Long Beach. Officials say they do not know why the victim was standing on the freeway. The victim's name is being withheld until relatives are notified. Authorities do not have a description of the suspect or the vehicle.
A 17-year-old boy has been arrested in the death and sexual assault of a 6-year-old Bremerton, Washington girl. The body of Janice Wright was found in a wooded area on Thursday, several days after she went missing. Police say the teenager lived in the same mobile home park as Janice. The suspect is expected to be booked on suspicion of second-degree murder, manslaughter, and rape. He was arrested by FBI agents and deputies at his home without incident.
Some terrifying moments aboard a JetBlue flight bound for New York as passengers were forced to evacuate. Airport officials say the plane aborted its takeoff from San Juan, Puerto Rico, when one of its engines reportedly caught fire. The crew and all 186 passengers were evacuated using the emergency slide, and the fire was extinguished. 2 passengers were taken to the hospital for minor bruises caused by the slide. Turning now to the crisis in Iraq. The U.S. military carried out 4 more airstrikes today. This as President Obama leaves Washington for summer vacation. But the crisis will be following him north to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. ABC's Jonathan Karl has the latest.
As 500-pound bombs dropped from F-18 fighter jets and missiles fired from U.S. Predator drones pummeled terrorist targets in northern Iraq, President Obama bluntly acknowledged today there is no clear end date on this military operation.
I don't think we're going to solve this problem in weeks. I think this is going to take some time. The Iraqi security forces, in order to mount an offensive and be able to operate effectively with the support of populations in Sunni areas, are going to have to revamp, get resupplied, have a clear strategy.
Although the president reaffirmed his promise not to send ground troops.
Because we should have learned a lesson from our long and immensely costly incursion in Iraq.
He described a broader mission for U.S. airstrikes than he did just 2 days ago, when he said the sole objectives were to protect Americans, especially the 150 Americans serving in the northern Iraqi city of Erbil, and to prevent a genocide of a minority group surrounded on a mountaintop by the terrorist group known as ISIL. Today, he described something more.
We have to make sure that ISIL is not engaging in the actions that could cripple a country permanently.
Of immediate concern, the terrorists have taken control of Iraq's largest dam, which not only supplies electricity to some 1.5 million Iraqis, but if destroyed, could send a tsunami of water flooding all the way from Mosul in the north to Baghdad, even threatening the U.S. Embassy.
That was ABC's Jonathan Karl reporting. Kurdish forces in northern Iraq are also delivering aid by helicopter to trapped refugees.
Ukraine's president says he is ready to accept humanitarian aid in eastern Ukraine. This after the rebels' new leader says they are surrounded and are ready to agree to a ceasefire to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe. Today, residents in Donetsk say the city was hit by several shells. No casualties were reported. Ukrainian troops have made steady advances against the rebels in recent weeks. In the Middle East, officials say Hamas shot down 28 rockets at Israel, while Israel hit about 50 targets in Gaza that it says were linked to Hamas, including mosques and homes. Officials say an Israeli strike killed a senior Hamas member. The renewed fighting brings the ceasefire talks in Egypt into question. Senior officials say an Israeli delegation would not rejoin negotiations in Cairo unless Hamas stops firing rockets into Israel.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Myanmar, meeting with leaders from several Southeast Asian countries. Today, he called on China and its smaller neighbors to take new steps to ease tensions over maritime disputes in Asian waters that many fear could spark conflict. Kerry formally presented a proposal under which China and other countries that have competing claims to territory in the South China Sea would voluntarily halt provocative actions.
Back in the States, Hawaii may have dodged a 1-2 punch from 2 major storms, but the threat is not over. People on the Big Island are still dealing with heavy rain and flash flooding. 11 inches of rain already come down. Another foot is expected. Some residents have spent more than 24 hours without electricity. Utility officials say they could be in the dark until next week. Others are dealing with blocked roads thanks to downed trees and power lines.
It's been pretty hectic because the wind was really strong last night. In fact, all the way till this morning, there were debris all over the road.
We got to clear the way. My mom's on oxygen. She's not doing good. And we need to open this up in case I need to call an ambulance.
Meanwhile, people on Oahu and Maui are bracing for Hurricane Julio, but a direct hit from that storm appears unlikely. And for more on that, let's send it over to Danny Romero. He has been tracking the storm all evening. Danny?
All right, thanks very much. And we're looking at this, Colleen and Jory. We see that we can see from the islands, there's the remnants of one system moving out, leaving Hawaii pretty nice. And now looking ahead, though, we've got here now Julio making its move. But here's the story about Julio. It is, as you mentioned, tracking away from the islands here. And we're seeing that track looking this way over the next few hours as we see it from this morning and moving forward as it starts to turn northward and away from the islands. So at the most, we think at this point the islands will get some wind, some of the tropical storm force winds and less. Also, of course, some storm surge will pick up. There'll be some rain on the outer bands as well, heading towards the islands. But for the most part, this one, Julio, will skate by and move to the north away from Hawaiian Islands. And now, as far as that's concerned, things looking pretty good for them for the night. For us, a little change on the way. I'll tell you about that when I come back with this 7-day forecast in just a bit. Right now, Jory and Colleen, go ahead.
Okay, Danny, CNN. 8 firefighters who were sent to the hospital while battling a wildfire in Northern California were all released today. 3 firefighters and 5 inmate firefighters from a local minimum security facility all suffered minor burns fighting a massive blaze in Mendocino County near Laytonville. Flames broke out Wednesday after a lightning strike and have charred more than 11 square miles. The fire is still threatening nearly 60 structures across 6 communities.
It's Smokey the Bear's birthday.
It is. America's first firefighting bear is 70 today. He's the face of the longest-running public service announcement in U.S. history. And according to polls, Smokey's name recognition is nearly on par with Mickey Mouse and Santa Claus. Smokey has changed over the years, but he's keeping up with the times, boasting 300,000 Facebook friends and 24,000 followers on Twitter.
That is pretty impressive.
It is.
All of those followers.
Especially tweeting with those claws.
Must be tough. A 9-year-old boy is attacked by an alligator and lives to tell the story.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, we'll hear what the boy is saying about the scary incident as he speaks from his hospital bed.
And a big weekend for stargazers. We're going to tell you why you will want to turn your eyes to the sky.
The power of Dallas and Doppler. Pocket size. Download ABC7's new live Mega Doppler 7000 HD weather app.
Take a look at that. It's a big weekend for stargazers and moon gazers. Tomorrow, the sky will be lit up by a supermoon. The moon is moving 30,000 miles closer to Earth than normal. The last one was not too long ago, just back on July 12th. And according to NASA, the last two full moons of summer will fall on August 10th and September 9th, and they are both supermoons.
They're cool to see if you can actually remember to go out and look at them.
We will tell you over and over again, go out and look at them.
I know.
Just to make sure they do. Yeah, it should be good. And, you know, fairly clear tomorrow night. Tonight's still a pretty good night, too. Clouds are moving in some spots, especially the coastal areas, and that's serving keep us on the cool side. Let's go outside right now and take a look over Southern California for our Saturday night. How about this view? Our live camera. Ah, look at this. Beautiful. Long Beach in HD. Showing you everything you can possibly see through the Long Beach area. Really quite a nice shot there. Our downtown skies are pretty good. The clouds moving in there, as a matter of fact. The clouds kind of taking over and keeping us on the cooler side night and morning. 70 degrees right now through downtown. Calm winds and relative humidity at 76% with our barometer on the rise at 29.92. Watch this. Here's the marine layer a little earlier doing its work over at Malibu. For Malibu, those clouds moving in, and the clouds looking pretty good as the marine layer turns around over Southern California. That's going to keep us on the cooler side, taking us right up to nighttime and morning clouds. That's just a great shot, the motion of that. Here's our look outside. Here's what's causing the marine layer. This low sitting here to our north with its counterclockwise motion is serving to pull in that marine layer to our coastal and inland areas as well. But it's going to start to change as we look forward Sunday into Monday and Tuesday. What's going to happen then is this ridge of high pressure is going to move in. When that ridge drops in, everything then goes offshore, and also this high with that circulation will pull up subtropical moisture into our mountain and desert areas once again right about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, bringing a chance of thunderstorms back to those mountain spots especially. Here's our numbers tonight overnight. Down in the 60s in San Bernardino. We're showing you that for Anaheim as well. Glendale and Santa Clarita, a little bit warmer overnight. Palmdale gets down to 71 tonight. Tomorrow, another nice day. Not real hot. The high desert, 93. That's sunny and pretty nice. 75 at Malibu once the clouds clear out. 78 at Long Beach. Covina gets up to 84 tomorrow. We'll see a 93 for San Bernardino, a 92 for Riverside. Here's the 7-day, powered by AccuWeather, giving you morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, keeping it on the cooler side through the week. A little less marine layer by Tuesday, and by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we start seeing a little rise in numbers by Friday and Saturday to 84 and then to 85 for the weekend. Here's a look at the valleys in the Inland Empire with morning clouds tomorrow to keep temps down. Then less of that marine layer influence, so a little warming up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to the low 90s, and then a little bit warmer next Friday and Saturday, the 92 by Saturday. And then looking ahead, mountain areas. Here you go. Warm conditions for the mountains and a little cloud cover tomorrow. More so enough to give us a chance of thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday to start the week. As we head towards the weekend, that monsoonal moisture moves out. We just have the sunshine and a few clouds, and temps stay in that mid to upper 70s into Friday and Saturday. The high deserts will be sunny with some gusty winds in that 25, 30 mile per hour range, and numbers go 93 to 95, staying in that mid 90s range for Monday and Tuesday, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, a little bump up heading towards the weekend. So we get to Friday and Saturday, we're looking at 96 and 97, pushing 100. It is the desert after all. So by next weekend, a little more heat going on there, all right?
It does get a little hot.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Thanks, Danny. In Florida, a 9-year-old boy is recovering from a nasty encounter with a 9-foot alligator. That little boy found himself trapped in the jaws of the gator, but he fought back and won. ABC's Lindsay Janis has the story.
Tonight, 9-year-old James Barney Jr. is alive and well, thanks to his quick thinking and incredible bravery.
I was scared. I didn't know what to do, so I just immediately hit it, and it let go a little, so I parched open, and I got a little bit of space of clearance to where it could let go. And I slid myself out.
James had been riding his bike with friends in St. Cloud, Florida Thursday afternoon when he decided to take a dip in this lake, in an area off limits to swimmers and known for its gators.
At first I thought someone was just playing with me, and I didn't know what happened.
This is the roughly 9-foot-long, 400-pound alligator that bit James 3 times and swiped him with its claws.
My friend got bit by an alligator. He was swimming, and we were just sitting up here, and we heard him screaming.
James now being treated for as many as 30 bite marks all over his body.
And they pulled out a tooth and showed it to me, and I said, oh, well, I want to put it on a necklace so then I could tell all my friends.
Wildlife officials say more than 1.3 million alligators roam Florida waters. The reptile that pounced on James still on the loose.
And he won't get that tooth back until they find that gator. That was Lindsay Janice reporting. Barney is expected to make a full recovery and should be going home in the next few days.
It wasn't your average day on the job for Ohio police. They were sent out to round up a camel and pony running loose on the streets of Sylvania Township. Beg your pardon. Cool Whip the camel and Joe the pony were corralled by township officers. They were able to find the owner, who quickly arrived to bring them back to his farm. The owner says he has no idea how his pets escaped, but says the two animals apparently just wanted to take a romantic stroll around town together.
So Joe was the pony.
Maybe Cool Whip is the camel.
I make that noise sometimes.
When you take a romantic stroll.
That's it. Ahead on Eyewitness News, an important car recall to tell you about, plus this story.
There was a time when all Cadillacs were big and heavy and had a V8 under the hood. Nowadays, those traits only belong to one. I'm car specialist Dave Coons. It's the fourth generation of the Escalade. We'll check in and see how Caddy's big bruiser is adapting to the times.
And if you love bacon, you will love this new motorcycle. We're going to tell you why. All right, Volkswagen of America recalling more than 150,000, you heard it, Tiguan SUVs because fuel problems on some 2009 to 2014 models may cause stalling. No accidents or injuries have been reported. Gas bubbles may form in the fuel system when winterized fuel is used in warmer months or warmer areas, which could cause stalling. Volkswagen is notifying all the customers. Dealers will install revised software in the SUVs to fix that problem.
Yeah, you just got to get the pronunciation down, that's all.
Yeah.
We're working on it beforehand.
We were talking about
well,
it. Yeah.
Got to get it right. Well, they are big and bold. and have been since the late 1990s.
The Cadillac Escalade recently went through a metamorphosis for the 2015 model year, but as car specialist Dave Coons shows us, it's likely to keep its reputation as a favorite of the movie and music industries.
As luxury brand Cadillac has evolved in recent years, its cars have taken on a decidedly continental flair, trim, svelte, and able to keep up with the cars from European brands. But the biggest Cadillac remains unapologetically all-American in size and purpose, the Escalade SUV. It's all new for the 2015 model year and boasts new styling and new improvements in things like quietness and ride quality. Not much of a secret, the Escalade shares much of its basic body and hardware with GM's other full-size SUVs like the Chevrolet Tahoe. And that's always been the case. The Escalade debuted back in 1998 as a barely disguised version of lesser General Motors vehicles. But the Escalade evolved and caught the eye and attention of the entertainment industry. The Sclade, as it became known, had on-screen cred. This fourth-generation example carries the Escalade torch into a more modern era. Big power, for sure. 6.2 liters of V8. Many buyers actually do use their Escalades for towing. And when the engine doesn't need to be under full power, cylinder deactivation helps save at least a little bit of fuel. When the Escalade first came along in the late 1990s, the interior, while nice, didn't look that much different from other full-size GM SUVs, or even the most basic Chevrolet pickup. Well, today's Escalade has an interior that resembles that of other Cadillac models. All the cues from Cadillac's current sedans translate very well into the much larger Escalade's interior space. It's a good thing it doesn't look much like the Tahoe inside. The base price is $25,000 higher. But large, high-end SUVs don't seem to be looking to go on any kind of a dollar diet. The Range Rover has never been inexpensive, but you can now really drop some coin on one. This long-wheelbase, supercharged autobiography example stickers out at over $140 grand. So perhaps $87 grand for the Escalade you see here isn't so out of line. The Escalade is not shy about its price, its size, or its station in the automotive scene. Probably just the way Escalade buyers like it. Dave Coons, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Wonder if bacon could power an Escalade.
Can you imagine how much bacon grease you would need?
We seem to have bacon everything nowadays, but this one definitely a first.
A bacon-powered motorcycle taking its inaugural cross-country road trip. The bike was built for Hormel and is featured in a documentary called Driven by Bacon. The project follows the bike and its rider traveling from Minnesota to California to talk to complete strangers about their greatest passions.
The whole goal is to really find people that are to the core about something. We're obviously bacon to the core, but finding people that have passion or have something that they really believe in.
Hormel is supplying the bacon grease for the fuel. It costs about $3.50 per gallon and gets 75 to 100 miles to the gallon.
I think a lot of folks out there are driven by bacon. Much more news still to come here on Eyewitness News on LA56, including a final farewell.
Loved ones gathered to say goodbye to a man mistakenly shot and killed by an LA County Sheriff's deputy.
Plus, the Cajon crawl is impacting a number of weekend getaways. We'll tell you what areas you'll want to avoid.
And believe it or not, it's been 40 years since President Nixon resigned following the Watergate scandal. We're going to look back at this unique day in U.S. politics.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
Making headlines at 8:30, a deputy is now out of the hospital after he was wounded in a shootout with a suspect in Walnut Park. Welcome back to Eyewitness News on LA56. I'm Jory Rand.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan in for Giovanna Lara. The deputy was rushed to the hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. The 31-year-old suspect was found 3 hours later hiding in a dumpster. He flashed his gun and a deputy opened fire. The suspect was pronounced dead on the scene. The neighborhood was on lockdown for several hours today, but it has since been reopened.
Now to Pico Rivera and a final farewell to a man accidentally killed in his own home by an LA County Sheriff's deputy. Officials say the deputy mistook Frank Mendoza for an armed and dangerous suspect as he tried to escape from his Pico Rivera home. Eyewitness News reporter Q McCrae was at today's funeral and spoke to Mendoza's family.
It was a day of mourning for this Pico Rivera family, the day they said their final goodbyes to Frank Mendoza.
You know, all we do is try to stay strong together as a family. That's how our dad raised us.
Jeremy is fatherless due to a case of mistaken identity. We covered the incident as breaking news August 1st. LA County deputies were after armed fugitive Cedric Ramirez, who barricaded himself inside the Mendoza household. Frank was mistaken for the parolee as he escaped his home and shot twice by a 13-year veteran of the force who remains unnamed. Ramirez was killed in a gunfight after an 8-hour standoff by SWAT.
He saw that movement and he thought that was the same guy that had been shooting. It was a very quick and a very blurry situation.
This morning, Frank's funeral ceremony was in the same church he faithfully visited for years, where the 54-year-old raised his family. Fittingly, it was a packed house for this man who meant so much to so many.
Thank you to the community, the support everybody's been showing with the fundraising. Zapien's Salsa Girl, who's been helping the family out immensely. The city, who's been helping us out as much as they possibly can considering the circumstances.
Frank Mendoza is survived by his 8 children, his 12 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. In Pico Rivera, I'm Q McCrae, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The search continues for a hit-and-run driver in Northridge who left a woman critically injured. Investigators say the incident happened near Reseda and Chase Street around 11:30 last night when that driver slammed into the woman, then left her lying on the ground. An overturned shopping cart was also found nearby. The 45-year-old was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Officers do not have a description of the car of the suspect.
We now know the name of the 16-year-old Chinese exchange student who drowned in his host family's pool. It happened Wednesday in Anaheim on the 800 block of West North Street. Yuan Zhao ventured into the deep end and went under. There were several people at the pool who tried to save him, but he was pronounced dead later at a hospital. Investigators say the teen had only been in the United States for just over a week.
First, there was Carmageddon, then there was Ramp Jam. Now we have an update on the Cajon Crawl. This latest improvement project means northbound lanes of the 15 between Highway 138 and Oak Hill Road are closed for repaving, and they will not reopen until Monday afternoon. For most of the weekend, traffic will be reduced to 2 lanes, but in off-peak hours, only 1 northbound lane will be open. Repaving will progress about a mile at a time for the next several weekends. So far, this weekend's work is going as planned. Drivers should check for alternate routes to avoid delays.
Some good news at UCLA as damage from that water main break continues to happen. That water main break happened 11 days ago. One of the 2 closed parking garages will be partially reopened next week. Engineers have declared both garages structurally sound, but the fire door, electrical and ventilation systems were damaged and must all be replaced. Meantime, the wooden floor at Pauley Pavilion, that has been removed. It too will be replaced. UCLA says the arena will be ready for the start of basketball season on October 31st.
And it turned out to be a pretty beautiful day today. Let's go over to Danny Romero for our first check of that forecast. Hi again, Danny.
How you doing, Colleen? Jory, I'll tell you what, we look at a Burbank camera, a live HD look. Shows a few clouds in the skies, even in the valley area, serving to keep us on the cooler side, certainly. Here's a great shot from our Long Beach camera. A waxing gibbous moon. That's not quite full. That'll be tomorrow for the supermoon, but right there, the waxing gibbous, 99% of that moon illuminated right now. I mean, that's a great shot. Props to our booth for putting that one together. Here's our numbers over the Southland right now. A nice summer night, very mild numbers, even on the inland spots. Already down to 74 in Ontario. A very comfortable 76 in Riverside. Temecula goes 74 degrees. Coastal numbers with that marine layer moving in already, dropping down to 68 in Santa Monica, 70 at Long Beach, and a very cool 64 in Oxnard right now. Now, we've got some tropical moisture moving in. What will it do to us? I'll let you know with a 7-day when I come back in just a bit. Right now, Jory and Colleen, go ahead.
Danny, thanks. Tensions are rising in Liberia, where nearly 300 people have died from Ebola. Today, people there are protesting the government's delays in collecting bodies lying alongside roadways and in villages. So far, the deadly virus has claimed nearly 1,000 lives in West Africa, prompting the World Health Organization to declare the outbreak an international health emergency. The U.S. relief organization, whose workers contracted Ebola while working in Africa, is supporting the new declaration.
This is a significant event that is occurring in West Africa, and I think the more exposure to it, the more wise commentary from organizations like the WHO or the CDC, I think it's important. I think it's valuable.
Doctors and software developers at Boston Children's Hospital have come up with a website that tracks the Ebola virus. It's called healthmap.org. That site uses online information, including social media, to track how the disease has spread.
40 years ago today, Richard Nixon walked out of the White House for the last time. He's the only U.S. president ever to resign his office. Now, for the first time, we're hearing his recollections of those final moments from an interview he gave to a former aide. ABC's Jeff Zeleny has more.
Richard Nixon's famous last words from the Oval Office.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first.
We know what happens next, but for the first time in a generation, we hear it in his own voice.
All the family was gathered in the West Hall, and then suddenly they all got up, and they came around, just surrounded me. It was sort of a huddle, sort of a family embrace, saying nothing and saying everything.
He recalls how that day, August 9th, 1974, unfolded, and how he said his goodbyes to those around him.
Spoke from the heart, told them that they must not allow what happened to me to discourage them.
And then, time to go.
I kind of raised my hand. I don't know whether it was a salute or a wave, but that was it. As the helicopter began to rise, I heard Mrs. Nixon, who was sitting in the seat next to us, speaking to no one in particular, but to everyone. And she said, "It's so sad. It's so sad."
Sad for a president, sad for a nation. Jeff Zeleny, ABC News, Washington.
Up next, getting ready for the start of a new school year.
We're going to take you to a special block party designed to get kids ready with some much-needed school supplies for free.
And book lovers of all ages gathered in Leimert Park for a unique book fair. The details next. The Los Angeles Mission threw a block party for hundreds of children who lined up for free backpacks just in time for the start of the school year. A giant street fair was held in front of the Mission at the corner of 5th and Wall Streets. Volunteers served food, set up games and crafts for the kids. Each child got to take home a backpack filled with school supplies. The Mission says many families can't afford to buy essential school supplies for their children.
It was also a fun-filled day at Lamert Park. Book lovers of all ages stopped by the 7th annual Lamert Park Village Book Fair at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. It features children's activities, book signings, writings, and panel workshops. The free event was held to promote literacy.
All right. 2 mayors make good on a bet.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, volunteers of all ages gathered at the LA River today to help in a major cleanup, and we're going to explain what this had to do with that bet.
And if you need something to do this weekend, why not see a movie? We'll run down what's new in theaters.
South of Sacramento, parkgoers have had it with all the geese.
They've had it. They say about 200 of them are now living at Lodi Lake, making a day at the park miserable. It's become so much of a problem, the beach is often closed because of high bacteria levels. So, park officials are turning to a popular cartoon character to scare off the geese. They've installed rubber Wile E. Coyotes at the park. Believe it or not, it seems to work.
We have a coyote whose tail flaps in the breeze, and it's something a little bit about the eyeballs of this model that we have. There's a little bit of fright that's shared with the geese at that point.
Park officials have also set up solar-paneled strobe lights and a volunteer dog walking group. The dogs will be used to chase the geese away, but there's one fatal flaw in that Wile E. Coyote.
What would that be?
As soon as the roadrunner shows up, he just takes off, and the geese just have free run of the park.
You watched way too many cartoons as a kid, didn't you?
As a kid. In between shows.
We have to drag him away from the cartoons just to be here for us shortly. Thanks for joining us, Jerry.
Well, it was a nice day outside today. You didn't want to watch too many cartoons.
Yeah, get outdoors.
Get outside, Jory.
Geez, there's sunshine out there, and the beaches eventually get pretty nice in the afternoon, too. Let's go outside, see how things are looking here on our Saturday night. Meep, meep. Here's how it looks on our live HD camera from Burbank. The valley looking good, although some drivers might be having a little problem or two. A little congestion there on the freeway. Skies have a little bit of murkiness in them. Clouds there certainly in our downtown LA look. A lot of cloud cover right now. That's that marine layer pushing farther from the coast. 70 degrees right now downtown. Calm winds and relative humidity at 76%. Here's how our day shaped up. Normal temp, 84 for this date. Only got to 82. Again, that marine layer influence really keeping things on the cooler side. Sunset, 7:46. Gorgeous over the area. 6:11 tomorrow morning. Sun rising up. Full moon tomorrow. Marine layer right now. Washout moves in tonight into tomorrow. Not only on the coast, but way inland and pretty thick as well. That's that cooler air then, keeping our temperatures down. Looking forward even more so Sunday into Monday, more of that marine layer once again. Again, penetrating pretty deep into the inland empire. So we're going to see things cool down. Driving that marine layer is this low sitting towards our north. As that low spins in that counterclockwise motion, it sends that cool marine layer onto coastal spots, into the valleys as well. As we move forward, though, from that, we can see what's going to change around for us will be this ridge of high pressure building in. This high will give us an offshore flow to warm things up, but also with that circulation, it pulls up some tropical moisture into our mountain and desert areas. So by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we could see thunderstorms. Back once again, some of those monsoonal storms in our mountain and desert areas. Tonight, numbers pretty mild overnight. 60 in Wrightwood, 66 at Malibu, 64 for Simi Valley. Then tomorrow, the highs to 81 in Thousand Oaks, to 84 in Glendale. Pasadena goes to 87. Santa Clarita, a warmer spot of 92 for the high, same as Ontario and Riverside. Here's the 7-day power back weather showing you the really nice few days ahead of us. Morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, that marine layer doing its work, keeping temps down Sunday and Monday. Less so as we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend, up to 84 and 85 by Friday and Saturday. Valleys and the Inland Empire. Morning clouds tomorrow, keeping temps down. Not so much that marine layer influence on Monday as the week starts, so we see temperatures rise up to the 90s and stay there up to 91 and 92 by next Friday and Saturday. Now the mountain areas, there we're going to see some action. Monsoonal moisture, thunderstorm chances by Monday, taking that to Wednesday as well. And then by Thursday and Friday, that stuff moves out. We just see some nice sunny days, 75 to 76 for the mountain highs. The high desert will be sunny and on the breezy to windy side with gusts to 25 miles per hour, and those temps warming up, but not really incredibly hot. 94, 95, and by the end of the week, into the weekend, to 97 by Saturday for the desert in the summertime. That's pretty nice. It's get outside, don't watch cartoon weather, I think.
I think so.
Just so you know.
You're looking at me, you know.
We're looking at you.
I just go out and watch
Why
it on
would
my
we say
phone.
that?
Of course
Yeah.
you will.
There you go.
No, I won't. Well, a huge group of volunteers joined LA's mayor today to help clean up the Los Angeles River.
And the group even included the mayor of Anaheim, who came out to make good on a bet. And take a look at all the volunteers who fanned out onto the riverbanks along Marsh Park with trash bags in hand. The concrete riverbed is undergoing a $1 billion makeover that will restore the natural habitat.
So just as the LA River is part of a larger watershed, restoring the river is a critical part of moving our city forward. So new life on the river will mean new life in the neighborhoods and the businesses that are around here as well.
Anaheim Mayor Tom Tate even showed up to help. He was holding up his end of the bet with Mayor Eric Garcetti after the Ducks lost to the LA Kings during the National Hockey League playoffs.
Time to talk sports. It's a good thing the Dodgers have a small cushion to top the NL West, because just 2 games into a 9-game road trip, Big Blues' positive momentum seems to be stuck in neutral. Adrian Gonzalez, though, must love that Wisconsin cheese. Milk does a body good. He homers in Milwaukee for the 2nd day in a row, number 17 on the year. But Zach Greinke, who was once a Brewer, struggled, giving up a bomb in the 2nd, another one here in the 6th. Carlos Gomez rings one off the fair pole and left. Dodgers lose 4-1, but the Giants lose as well. So Dodgers remain 3.5 up in the West. On to Anaheim, where for a while Garrett Richards was the master of his domain. Struck out 5 and took a no-hitter into the 7th. But In the 7th, the no-no disappears, and so does the Angels' defense. Eric Ibar mishandles the ground ball at short. David Ortiz scores. The shutout's gone. 2 batters later, Xander Bogart skies one into right center. This one stays in the yard, but it's good enough to bring home another run. Angels currently trail 3-2 in the 8th. Finally, Rory McIlroy closing in on a second straight major, but Murrietta's Ricky Fowler, who finished second at the U.S. Open and second at the British, is looking to finally break through. Today, a 4-under 67 leaves him 2 back. Phil Mickelson also in contention. He was at 6 under through 2 rounds today. Lefty actually bogeyed 11 and 12, found himself even for the day, but he turned it on late. Birdied 14 on 15 from the rough. Check out this shot. Yep, he birdied that one as well. Birdied 4 of his final 6 holes. He's at 10 under, just 3 shots back. Second place, 1 shot off the pace, Bernd Wiesberger, the Austrian, well known on the European Tour. He's getting to be known here. Nearly holds his approach on 17 for an eagle, sells for the bird. Low round of the day, 65. But Rory McIlroy finished strong as well. Birdies 3 of his final 4 holes, including this beaut on the 15th. McIlroy can make it 3 wins in 4 weeks if he holds off the field tomorrow, and that's sports.
All right, and new tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock on ABC7, scary moments in Orange County when a 3-year-old girl slips under the water in a swimming pool, how bystanders helped save her. And more on the emergency landing in Puerto Rico when the engine of a JetBlue flight caught fire. We're going to have reaction from passengers. Those stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC.
Well, up next, the frozen frenzy shows no sign of slowing down.
Still to come on Eyewitness News, find out where the adventures of sisters Anna and Elsa are going to be continued.
The U.S. Postal Service is honoring one of the groundbreaking singers of the 1960s and unveiled the new Janis Joplin stamp at the Outside Lands Music and Arts Festival in San Francisco. The psychedelic stamp is designed to look like an album cover. Joplin's brother says the honor is a testament to his sister's talent. Her raspy, bluesy voice propelled her to the pinnacle of rock stardom. She died, though, in 1970 at the age of 27.
There's a nasty storm at the movies this weekend, but there's also a romantic comedy if that's more to your liking.
For action-adventure, the Ninja Turtles are back. Entertainment guru George Pinocchio runs down what's new in theaters.
Let's go save my brothers.
In an update of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we find New York City in major trouble thanks to the evil Shredder and his Foot Clan. But then, the crime-fighting turtles ascend from the sewers, hoping to save the world. And they team up with a fearless reporter played by Megan Fox in this action-packed PG-13 rated film.
Hey guys, it's splitting! There's another one, there's 3, 4, they're everywhere!
In the thriller Into the Storm, life in a quiet town is interrupted by an unpredicted onslaught of tornadoes. Some folks hide from this megastorm, but there are a few local storm chasers who happily dive right into the mayhem. Step Up All In is the latest installment in the dance film franchise, and it features cast members from all previous Step Up films. The dancers here realize going pro is tough, but they don't give up. Instead, they enter the ultimate dance competition with a 3-year Las Vegas contract as the grand prize.
Friends? Yeah, why not? Okay. Friends.
Daniel Radcliffe stars in the romantic comedy What If? He plays a med school dropout and hopeless romantic who has a history of failed relationships. His faith is restored when he meets the perfect woman. Perfect, except for the fact she has a boyfriend. Now he has to face the age-old question, can a man and a woman really just be friends?
If your food is anything like your music, I suggest you turn it down.
Oscar winner Helen Mirren also has a movie on this week's menu. In The 100-Foot Journey, a prim and proper French restaurateur sees her world turned upside down when an Indian family brings its bright and flavorful food to a restaurant just across the street. After a rocky start between the two eateries, we'll see if the two cultures can learn from one another and maybe form a delicious melting pot of compromise. George Pinocchio, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The adventures of Frozen sisters Anna and Elsa are expected to be continued on paper. Random House Children's Books will be launching a new series next year tied to the Disney blockbuster Frozen. The first 2 books, written by Erica David, are scheduled for release in January. Random House says they've already sold more than 8 million books related to the animated film.
And that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8 here on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 on ABC7. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.